Oh my God, I cannot believe it. We are back together again.
Back together.
Back together.
I mean, oh, my sisters in real estate. And I mean that. I mean, I miss y'all so much. So much. So it's been too long. And we cannot come together for things like this. Okay, so y'all know the news is hot.
The tea. Where's my teacup?
The tea. The tea. So we came together to dispel the tea.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
As you guys know, there was a NAR ruling here in recent days about, it was 418 million. It has not been approved. Okay. And that's in July. But as of now, it's $418 million that's on the table.
That's a settlement agreement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what's being said is, it's a lot being said. And we're here today. We're here today to clear the air.
Yeah.
And I thought that I would bring none other than my most favorite people. And that is Marla Lewis and Kimberly Dixon Dudley. My most favorite people. Okay, so you listen to this, and you may have to listen to it 2 or 3 times. Okay, because we're gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Let's get into it, ladies.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so there was a settlement, $418 million. How did that settlement come about? Tell me, how did that settlement come about?
Well, you know what? The DOJ initially, the Department of Justice, initially said that, you know, there was some antitrust things that happened as far as NAR being able to have the MLS. So most people don't know what that is, but it is our multiple listing service that realtors use. Now,
it's our database on where we list property.
So for Houston, Harris County, most people refer to the MLS, or it's known as HAR.com. Do we want to say that?
Yes.
Correct. There you go. Yes.
Okay. So that MLS, it was alleged that price fixing was going on
With the commission.
with the commissions, which, you know, we all know that
those are negotiable.
They've
always been.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So initially the DOJ said that they would, you know, back up. Well, once President Biden came in, they reopened it. And so, you know, it was almost, I'm just going to put it out there, a money grab. And
what do you mean by that, Marla?
Well, we had people that said that they did not understand that they were paying for the buyer agent, which is the person who finds the property for a buyer, assists the buyer on making an offer, inspections, all of the things that
the seller didn't know that they were paying for the buyer's agent's commission.
Yes.
So in their listing agreements, when they're signing an agreement with their agent, the agent is going through and describing all of the obligations for the client, for the seller,
yes,
and for the client. So that conversation is supposed to take place at the time that the listing agreement is
signed.
Black and white, and it's signed. I mean, they signed it
black and white.
Yes. Yeah.
So the sellers said that they didn't understand that they were paying the buyer's agent. Well, Lisa, the first thing that I'd like to kind of clear up with this conversation is that the sellers never paid the buyer agent. Ever.
Seller's agent, broker.
The listing brokerage is who pays the buyer's agent or buyer's brokerage.
Correct.
And that's how that has worked. So let's talk a little bit more about that. We can get a little bit deeper into that.
The commissions in themselves are marketing dollars.
Correct.
That's how they're built into your effort to sell your property.
Correct.
It doesn't just sell itself miraculously. There's a lot of time, paperwork processes, software systems, signs,
and money
that's used to put a property out there and make it marketable.
Exactly.
And then when you make it marketable, you want what? You want buyers agents or buyers to find you
That's
and
right.
come and close on your property. So
Mhm.
the commissions are, yes, they're earned by the listing agent,
Mhm.
issued by the listing agent to the
Right.
buyer's agent, but they are a big bulk of your marketing dollars when you're selling your house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think
Mhm.
that's the piece, that's the first piece
That's missing.
that is missing, because a part of the marketing dollars also, it's just as it's the way that I see it's just as within any other industry.
Mhm.
Let's say you, for God forbid, but got into a car accident, you hired an attorney to
Right.
represent you.
Mhm.
That attorney needs to be able to hire certain people to help them with your case.
Correct.
The ultimate goal is for you to, in that scenario, would be for you to win your case, right? The ultimate goal for a seller would be to do what?
Sell their
Get the home
property.
sold.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
when
how do you best do that?
That's correct.
And
That's
I'm
correct.
asking you, how do you best
You're gonna have to
when
spend
you
the marketing dollars.
and
Duh.
and in addition to spending marketing dollars, you are networking with who?
Buyer's agents
Correct.
Absolutely.
who are out there canvassing
Absolutely.
and
Correct.
bringing
Time.
Because
qualified buyers.
you're not networking and contacting buyers, because if they have representation, hey,
So let's talk about representation. One of the
Yeah.
things I like to share with people, and that we think that a buyer's agency has always existed. So prior to the
Right,
early 1990s, there were no buyer's agencies.
Mhm.
It
That's
was
correct.
a listing agent
Right.
pretty much controlling the entire transaction.
correct.
And so while that may seem okay for some people, I think it puts a lot on one person. And then there's a conversation that I don't know if we've all had this openly, but do you think you can fairly represent both a buyer and a seller in a transaction? We have something called intermediary status
Right.
here in Texas,
Mhm.
but it's a challenge for one person to be completely
I
unbiased
personally don't do it.
and work in each party's best interest. So, and the best interest is not to manipulate the transaction. A contract has so many layers.
Right,
There's
it
the
does.
contract, the title work, appraisal, inspection. You have to have two people working on both
That's
sides
correct.
to make sure that those things are done accurate and correctly.
And people
That's
are being
correct.
treated honestly
And
and fairly.
fairly. Mhm.
That is correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the second piece
Okay.
that's missing. Third piece is sellers, I've heard, well, I'll tell you what I saw on social media. Someone said that, you know what, come to think of it, you really don't need a realtor at all. All you need to buy a house is an inspector and an attorney. That could work. But let me tell you how that.
Why did the attorney call me
Exactly.
on my listing?
But wait.
Tell me that.
But wait, let me tell you how it works for a buyer. And let me tell you what people are not seeing in how this is going to ultimately be a trickle down effect.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, that is working in some areas, right? You call the attorney, say, hey, I want a property. One, the attorney cannot run comparable properties.
They can't let you in the property to see it.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
And even if they could, what attorney is going to take out the time to show you 30 different properties that fit your needs?
Correct. Correct.
In this particular situation, a person was upset because they did just that. They reached out to the attorney. The attorney did write the offer.
Mhm.
There were multiple offers. They did not get the property. However, guess what? You still owe the attorney. And guess what? The attorney did charge their card $4,000. That being said, a seller might say, well, what does that have to do with me? I'm a seller. Right. One, you will soon become a buyer. That's the first thing.
Right.
Second thing is this. If that happens enough times, guys, guess what buyers are going to say? They're going to say just what a buyer told me over the weekend in a buyer consultation. He said, well, you know what? Because I had to explain all of this to him because there's been so much about it on the news.
Right.
Correct.
Guess what he said? Well, I don't want to worry about that. Just take me to new construction. Guess what, sellers? If the buyers are no longer interested in looking at your property because of this, guess what they are going to do? they are going to go to new construction. Guess what that means? It affects the sellers, does it not?
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
On existing property. That's
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct. So, I've heard that we have artificially inflated pricing. Guess what? If nobody's coming to look at your home, it's going to be some real deal lowballing of your pricing.
Right.
So
And we don't set the pricing.
We
by
don't.
the way.
We don't.
The value of a property is what a buyer is willing to pay for it.
That's correct.
Willing to pay for it.
So
bottom line.
that in that conversation,
and that is derived
That's correct.
from comparables of other properties that have sold
and appraised,
and
right?
appraised in your neighborhood. That is correct.
That's
Correct.
right.
So I said this. I was having a conversation with someone. I said, well, if somebody has a $500,000 loan approval, you're selling your house for $500,000. They have their down payment, they have their closing costs, they have the reserves that the lender requires, but they don't have the funding because this is a step up economic opportunity for most people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the funding to pay for a buyer's agency. Should they not look at your house? Should they not buy your $500,000 house? Is it better to cooperate with a buyer's agent and for them to bring a qualified buyer and sell your home at $500,000, or hold out for the commission, which is more important is really
Exactly.
what the conversation.
And so what you as a seller, what you're doing is you are potentially causing your home to be on the market much longer than it has to be.
Yeah.
Because you're not willing to pay a buyer's agent that has a ready, willing, and able buyer. So question, let me ask you guys this.
Okay.
Both of you guys, all three of us own brokerages. Okay. How moving forward? Now, this doesn't come into play until July.
Right.
Okay. Moving forward, how are you guys training your agents? What are you telling your agents? What kind of training? Because ultimately, this is on brokers to teach and train their agents. It's not on HAR or TAR or NAR. It is the responsibility of the broker to make sure that their agents are trained. What is Entourage and what is Kimberly Lane Properties doing moving forward?
Well, moving forward, what we're going to be doing and what I've told my agents is this. On one hand, Lisa, some things are going to be business as usual. The reason that I say that is because some of the things that have been discussed are things that have always been in place from beginning. So
a buyer's representation agreement.
Yes.
That's a part of the settlement is that we have buyer.
Exactly.
That's been a
I mean, of
conversation.
course, we'll be more strict about the buyer's representation agreement. Of course, we will talk with the seller and explain to them more about the marketing dollars that they're obviously missing on. Just making sure that those agents are effectively communicating it and continuously communicating it throughout the process.
Okay.
The other thing, go ahead.
Well,
I want to know
communication. I want to kind of drill down on that because that is the key point here. Again, commissions are not going away. They're not leaving the listing agreements. We will just not list them on the public MLS.
Correct.
So the cooperation between buyers and sellers agents will still be there, and there's a value for it. So we're going to continue to sell our value while we're there, why it's important for you to have representation if the seller has representation. So that's a really simple conversation. It's almost like saying you're going to go to court and defend yourself, but the lawyer on this defense side will be the lawyer for the plaintiff as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So we go through continuing education annually, learn about contracts and law. We understand some things that a lay person would not be able to do in representing themselves in the transaction.
I want to go back to, because that is the big thing or big piece of the case.
What's that?
The commission cannot be listed in the MLS. Okay. And so it's not to say that a commission is not being paid to that buyer's agent. We can put it anywhere else, social media, a billboard, if we're listing the property, we can put it anywhere else, just not in the MLS. And so if you know, when July happens, when it gets here, and you pick up the phone and you call that listing agent as a buyer's agent. I'm saying as a buyer's agent, is your seller willing to pay a buyer's agent a commission?
Compensation.
Yeah, a compensation.
Mhm.
And if so, then that is the amount that buyer's agent is supposed to put in that buyer representation agreement.
Right.
Because you know, now it's always been this way, but I would enforce it even more as a buyer's agent. You better not show a property without that in place.
I feel like it's due diligence. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like some of it's unnecessary, but a lot of the conversation is us bringing due diligence to the forefront.
Right.
You shouldn't put a person in the car if they're
That's
not
right.
serious enough to sign a
That's
buyer's
right.
representation
That's right.
agreement.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
I don't think sellers are going to stop offering compensation as long as they understand the value of it, right?
Not a smart seller.
Not a smart seller.
Mhm.
So do you guys think that, because when we got the settlement and the ruling, when all of that came out, it was doom and gloom in our market, you know, in our industry for a little while.
Right.
Do you think that it was all bad? Do you think that some good things will come out of it?
Well, I think what Kim just said, the enforcing of using a buyer
That's it.
representation agreement,
Mhm.
because, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but guys, people don't realize, you know, in the media, it's said that we make all this money, right? We're rich, right? So, or wealthy. Well, that being said, people, what they don't see and what's not talked about is that buyer's agent, certainly not me, but there are buyer's agents that have gotten into the business. You know, guys, you're trying to, you know, drum up some business
right.
and do a good job. And somebody says, well, I'm not going to sign.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sign.
I don't know that you know, so an agent, sometimes these
Yeah.
agents take a risk
Right.
because it's risky, you know,
To spend
driving
time
from-
and
yeah, your
resources.
time, your gas, your energy, you know, you're doing your due diligence, picking up the phone, calling,
Mhm.
asking questions, all of those types of things.
I'm
And
not
I don't
gonna
think
do it,
people
guys.
see that.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
And can I address one more thing? With the
Absolutely.
sellers. So this is another thing. Compensation. Some sellers believe that if the listing brokerage is not offering compensation to the buyer's brokerage, that the amount will be less. So they'll save money. Let me tell you, this is just Marla Lewis speaking. Let me tell
Yes,
you what
yes.
you're asking me to do. You're asking me to do twice the work
Come on
for
now.
less money.
Money.
Come on now.
You know, what do they do that at? They wouldn't do that at their job.
I was about to say, at your job, if you are a nurse and they told you, and you worked that
Right.
11 to 7 shift, and they told you to work 11 to 7 and 7 to 3. Come on,
But
you're
no,
not
you-
gonna do
but you're
that.
not
But you're
getting
just gonna get
no
paid
more
for the
comp-
11 to 7.
Right. Right.
Doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So that's why I said a smart seller.
Mhm.
Somebody who knows business and how business works.
There you go.
Right.
You know, so
But again, I'm going to always drill in. It's going to be communication because it's going to come from.
Yeah,
that's
We
right.
are going to have to drive the narrative of the value of the services that we
That's
provide.
it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Continue to do that.
That's it.
absolutely.
That's it. And so I think that this ruling is just putting us more on our tippy toes,
Yep.
and,
Yeah.
and at the forefront of what's going on, and just staying knowledgeable about our industry. A lot of people have become lackadaisical.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This is gonna show the cream from the crop.
Mm-hmm.
So that a lot of people got licenses, and there's no shade to anybody who got a license during COVID or whenever the money was
Right.
just falling out of the sky. But I think a lot of people are gonna have to step up
Yeah.
and prove and show their value.
There you go,
And then
Kim.
it will change. I've always had this issue.
And I'm
with
gonna
us being a
tell
used-
you.
I hate to say this. Oh God. No offense to used car salesmen. Think y'all are great. Probably great used car salesmen out there, but we're not that. Everybody who comes
That's
to
right.
us is
That's right.
most people who come to us are investing in the largest investment they're ever making in their entire lives.
That's
Yep.
it.
So we're not selling used parts. This is a
Mhm.
value, and we have to drill in on that.
Yes.
That's
we
it.
have to.
Come on now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And just to your point, another point, they're already running out of the industry. At that MLS meeting we had a couple of weeks ago, those numbers are going down.
Are they?
They selling them super key
Because
boxes like crazy now.
Yeah, because it's
What? I didn't know. Lisa, where are they online? I need Facebook Marketplace. Where can I get some extra super? I need to know. Girl, what?
Yeah.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
those numbers are going down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have to be able to stick in this industry
Yeah.
through every phase
Yeah. Yeah.
that we experience. You have to,
Yeah.
if you want to be successful.
And you mentioned, you asked what good is going to come from this. We've been in this long enough to know. We've seen the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. We've seen the downturns, and when we thought real estate was never going to come
Because
back.
you've been in the industry how long?
17 years.
17. How long?
22.
Same. August will be 22 for me.
Wow.
So yeah.
So we know how to pivot. And
Yeah.
we know
Boom.
how that's
Yeah.
what the key point is.
Yeah.
If you are going to be in this industry and show value, you're going to have to learn how to pivot.
Yes.
Last question.
Yes.
I probably should have asked this earlier, but I want to know what you think. Okay, so I've been hearing a little bit of chitter chatter about why did NAR settle?
Ooh.
That's a sticky one.
and I've been hearing that they settled because that is admittance that they are wrong.
No, it's just like with anything else, Lisa. I think that I've had two different feelings about it. I wish that NAR would have fought for us a little bit harder. But at the same time, I wish that agents would have not been, a lot of the stuff that NAR used were the words of agents. You know what I'm saying? So I wish that a lot of agents would not have put the narrative out there and would have shown our value more because they don't understand how we're up making calls. They don't understand how I'm calling you and saying, Lisa, look at this listing. It's been sitting. What should I do? What can we do with this? They don't understand the relationship, the time that it takes for us to build relationships so that when we do get a listing, we're able to pick up the phone and say, hey, come take a look at this listing.
That's right. I called y'all the day before to come make this video.
Yes.
And y'all are here.
Yes.
Showed up.
Had to.
Showed up.
This is too important.
Because ultimately we are getting the truth out.
Yes.
This is the truth. We're having a great time, but it's the truth. Kim, your thoughts on the NAR ruling. Did you think that they should have settled, or do you think that they should have gone in and fought a little harder for us?
Well, it's tough because we don't know the intricacies of the case, right? We don't know, and we're hearing things here and there. I heard that it was either bankruptcy or settled. I heard that, trying the case was going to be much more than settling the case. Do we know that information? No. But I do know that what we do know is that there's a $418 million settlement on the table. And as realtors who pay our fees and who are participants in the National Association of REALTORS, Texas Association of REALTORS, Houston Association of REALTORS, Houston Black Real Estate Association,
we're active.
We're active,
yes.
And this is a prime time for us to engage our associations and really feel like how can we be of value? How can we help keep the industry solvent? Because we do have this settlement that's going to be paid. We don't know what that looks like for us as individual agents, but
because those dues are going to go up.
Yeah.
So we need business.
We need some business because the dues are likely going up.
They're going up.
We don't know the details, but we know the settlement's there, so we have to figure out how to navigate that as participants in each of these boards and associations. We really do. We need to be more vocal. We need to go to our meetings. We need to be involved.
Absolutely.
Former chair of the Houston Black Real Estate Association. We need to commit the time.
We are active. We need more to become active.
Right, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, we are active.
Yeah.
We need more. We can't do it all.
Yeah.
That's correct. That is correct, Lisa. That is the sad part about those that maybe have not given value or those that have, but just the changes are forcing them for whatever reason.
So let
get out of
me
business.
say again, as Kim stated, we don't know the intricacies of those transactions. We don't. But my gut is telling me, some paperwork, just some things, oversights. We have to become more detailed. We have to become more detailed. If that means hiring a virtual assistant, get that virtual assistant, because we are now having to pay $418 million. Okay? That's what that means. You can't do it all. Can't do it all. Hire you some help. And I'm done.
You done?
Any closing words?
I want to say one last thing, because
Go ahead.
Kim mentioned the Houston Black Real Estate Association,
Yes.
which I am the board chair of. We are having a conference for one of our classes is going to be talking about just this, and giving out information for
Excellent.
those agents to better be able to communicate
That's
the
good.
services that we provide. And that's going to be in June. Go to TAREB top20.org, TAREB top20.org for more information on that.
Excellent.
On that conference.
I mean, because it's all about educating.
It is.
It's all about
It is.
educating.
Yes.
And so if you are a small brokerage, such as all of us, we are considered small brokerages. Yes. And so something like TAREB, what TAREB is offering is gold. Okay? And so make sure your agents know about it. Make sure you know about it. And if you're a layperson and you just want to know more information, are they able to attend as well, Marla, or no?
Is it only to licensed agents?
It is
Oh,
for
so-
licensed agents.
okay.
It is for licensed agents.
Okay.
And I want to say too, we mentioned HBREA, but HBREA is not a part of the National Association of Realtors.
Correct.
It's on a separate board.
Oh, that's correct.
But you can't complain if you're not involved.
That's
You're
right.
not at the table.
Exactly.
You have something you want to say, Kim?
That was my closing remark.
Yeah. If you're not at the table,
If you're not at the table,
you can't
not
complain.
contributing, don't complain. Take a seat at the table.
There you go. Thank you guys so much for coming out. This means the
glad to
world
see
to me.
you.
I mean,
together.
here's the deal. I mean, guys, I didn't even call. I text. And they showed up.
Yeah. This is too important.
Get you some folk like this. That's all I'm going to say. Get you some people like this. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.